Hi Taurus, welcome and welcome back to Heretic Owl Tarot. We're talking mid-March, just checking in, seeing what the energies are, all of the things. So how are you? What have you been doing? What are you doing right now? Tell me everything. As always, we're just going to kind of clear or cleanse the energy. So if there's anything that you want to get rid of or have cleansed, thoughts, feelings, patterns, behaviors, annoying energies, throw them in the bowl and we'll get those cleansed for you. I'm going to do this 3 times. So just beware of that if you're wearing AirPods. Here we go. Beautiful. You just breathe that in, you know? I do every time. If that sounded different too, for some reason in my head, it feels like that was maybe very much needed for Taurus this month. So like I said, we're talking mid-March. We're not working with a spread. The intention is just for a card or two to come out. The idea is to keep the messages on the shorter side, although I say that and it very rarely happens, which is fine. I know I say it all the time, but we go where the energy takes us. So, you know, if that's a longer chat, perfect. So as always, the cards do need to fall out of the deck. I don't shuffle reversals into the deck, but if the card comes out in the reverse, we'll keep it that way. And we're using the Modern Spellcaster's Tarot for this reading. I don't know why, but for some reason with this deck so far, I keep being reminded to introduce the deck. So I don't know. I don't know if I do that in every video. I know that I list the deck in the description. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's just kind of funny. So, whoop. Wow. Wow. We have, it kind of feels like this way, actually. Oh, yeah. Wow. Taurus. Beautiful. So we have the 9 of Cups and the Lovers, and then we have the Sun at the bottom of the deck. This to me has this feeling of unity. Is this straight? Because this is gonna drive me crazy. Now I have Queen Latifah in my ear saying UNITY. So the 9 of Cups talks about wish fulfillment. You know, I mean, this character kind of looks like a genie here, right? So this could just be, you know, something that you have been putting a lot of energy into. You could even have been meditating for some time on this, kind of manifesting this life, right? Just through pure feeling. Like, how do you want your day-to-day life to feel, right? This almost just kind of feels like you even got more than you bargained for. But I mean, of course, not in a bad way. I mean, this isn't a bad card. So it's not like in a bad way by any means, but it's kind of also like one of those things of like, be careful what you wish for. But in this case, it's a good thing. Like, you might just kind of feel a little bit overwhelmed. Yeah, there's these 9 cups lined up here. Just kind of the way that this genie is like looking down at them. You know, like there might just be some sense of like overwhelmment, but again, in a good way. Like it's still organized, right? It's not like there's, you know, this chaotic energy going on down here. So this could also, you know, be something that is coming if it hasn't shown up yet. A lot, like a big sense of pride too, like just being very proud of what you've kind of cultivated. And then we have the Lovers card. Now, of course, like surface level, superficially, if you will, or I guess maybe more, the better word would be literal, is that the Lovers card has to do with like a romantic type relationship. It very well could, right? I mean, it is represented generally by a man and a woman. And, you know, like in this depiction, there's this kind of ceremony going on here. I always think of Harry Potter, of course. If you know me, that's not weird. But if you've seen the Harry Potter movies, you know, like when Snape and Malfoy's mom made that, I can't remember what it's called right now, but where, you know, Snape made a promise to basically keep Malfoy safe, right? So, you know, again, it doesn't necessarily have to be a romantic relationship. It can be platonic. It can be business-wise. The Lovers also talks about like decisions and choices. And, you know, it's the coming together and the balance of the feminine and the masculine energy. So it's a balance between doing and being in the flow. The masculine energies are generally about initiating action, right? Like really kind of putting in the labor, like all the things that you would quote unquote like think about when you consider quote unquote masculinity. And again, you know, we're talking about energies. We're not talking about gender here. And then on the feminine side of things, you know, and the masculine is generally represented by the sun. Also, the feminine, and I feel, yeah, we'll get there, actually, now that I'm talking about this. The feminine is generally represented by the moon, but it's very much about like being in the flow. Like the moon controls the tides, right? And wind, I want to say. I don't know why that just popped into my head. But, you know, being very much in the flow, nurturing something so that it manifests into the 3D world. So again, you know, with the Lovers, it's a balance of those two things. It's nurturing something and then, you know, kind of like putting in the action to allow it to kind of flourish into the physical, you know, kind of 3D world, or be able to monetize it, or, you know, like have it be like something tangible that you can kind of put your hands on and see, you know. And then we have the sun at the bottom of the deck, which is like any type of good feeling that you can think of. That's the sun card. So, you know, I mean, it's ultimate joy, abundance. You know, I mean, she's making yarn here, right? That's a yarn, what do they call that? A yarn bat? Or a yarn, oh. I actually have my, yeah. Oh, maybe it's a drum carder. Anyway, so again, you know, this is something that you are cultivating, like you are manifesting, you are putting in the work towards. This isn't necessarily something that's just kind of being like dropped in your lap, as much as I would love for that to happen myself. But this is something that like you are putting your energy, time, and resources into. You know, there's these two children here. You could have children in your life. I'm also just kind of getting this, this message of like, it's something that you enjoy doing. Like, it's almost kind of play. It doesn't like necessarily feel like work. And then kind of what was interesting, remember at the beginning when I was like, oh, these messages are supposed to be shorter? This is why I don't stick to that, because I always do this. I love it though. Remember when I was talking about the sun and the moon energies? Here they go. And look like what's between them. Like this could be an energy that you were in. Because this isn't necessarily easy, right? This takes work. This takes time, dedication, right? Like to kind of like work on manifesting these things and trying to keep your vibration as much as you can, like a little bit higher than, you know, kind of sinking into this isn't working out. This is taking too much time and money, or, you know, just kind of maybe even not seeing the path forward. You know, like it takes energy and dedication to, you know, kind of like recognize those thoughts, like just be an awareness of those thoughts, but also be like, you know what, it is actually going to work out. And I don't really care how it works out. There's just no other way, right? Because really there's not. So, so then, you know, right behind the sun, we have the 10 of Swords, which means that, you know, like all of those like kind of what ifs, all of those anxieties, all of those trying to figure out the outcome. This could be other people's opinions, fears, right? Like old shit, all the old stories that we've been telling ourselves forever. That's done. Right? And, you know, what's interesting is that, you know, I kind of get this energy of him holding the Ace of Swords. And the Ace of Swords is that sort of truth, right? So it's this battle of, you know, all of this kind of incoming, like I said, like maybe those lower vibrational thoughts that ego likes to kind of throw at us to keep us in our little comfort box, right? And then just kind of like fighting them off with the sword of truth. This isn't a bad place to be in. I know it kind of looks a little depressing maybe, but it's really not a bad place to be in, because this is, you know, you have considered absolutely everything. There's nothing else to consider except for how can this actually work out? The 8 of Swords is kind of that like that self prison, like mind prison that we kind of put ourselves in, right? Because the 8 of Swords, and there's this bowl back here. So, you know, we got Taurus energy and the swords aren't even earth cards, yet we're still showing up, right? But the Eight of Swords has this, you know, it looks like they're kind of trapped, right? But they're really not. Their hands aren't even tied together. So if they wanted to, they could get out of these binds and move away from this situation, right? But sometimes we don't want to. And again, I honestly, I have never considered these places a bad place to be in, because, you know, it's kind of like one of those things, what you resist persists. I would much rather just like allow these things to come up, like allow those shame stories to come up, allow the fears and the doubts and the what ifs and every which way in which it can fail. I would much rather that come up so that I can see it and I can decide if it's mine or if it's somebody else's story, right? Like, is this something that somebody put on me? Or is this actually the way that I feel about myself? Because generally, 9 times out of 10, it's somebody else's opinion or fear or whatever, doubt. It's not mine. So then I can let it go, right? Even like when I started this YouTube channel, it took me about a year to actually start it, because I finally got to the point where I was like, you know what, I'm just going to let all of these fears and all of the reasons why I shouldn't do it, because I just kept thinking about it. I could not stop thinking about it. I couldn't stop like plotting and planning how I was going to do it, and trying even sometimes. And finally, when I just allowed the stuff to come up, like I said, I had the ability to be like, that's not even the way that I actually feel about myself. So not only was I able to let those stories go and almost kind of like change my ego, like, you know, story cycle, but it also, you know, like helped me kind of realize actually how I feel about myself. And I have a better opinion about myself than I actually thought I did. So again, you know, this isn't necessarily a bad place to be in. However, you do have to come out of it. And interestingly enough, like these two symbols on their hands, I'm kind of getting this message of them being the evil eye. So this is just, you know, even though you're in this energy, like there's still this protection of, you know, because the evil eye will protect you against like other people's bullshit, like other people's projection of their thoughts, their fears, their opinions and doubts and all that shit, right? So it's working through your own stuff. And then we have this moon card here, and the moon is, like I said, it's the feminine energy, but it's the unknown. It's, you know, kind of things are working in the background, and there's just stuff that really hasn't been either brought into your awareness yet, or it hasn't been dropped into your consciousness yet, or it just hasn't shown up in your world yet. And that could be why, you know, there was this energy of the Eight of Swords. However, you know, this could also just be the place, because I was mentioning meditation, right? Like this could just be the place where you have been hanging out and really, you know, kind of manifesting this Nine of Cups energy. But then we have the Ten of Pentacles behind that. And there's that evil eye symbol again. The Ten of Pentacles talks, and this is very much your energy, right? Pentacles, earth, the physical body, our money, our resources, right? So, I mean, even you can maybe even see back here, there's these like bags of money back here. There's bags of money here, right? So it's like, you know, your needs are met. And not to say that like money is everything. However, unfortunately, in this dimension that we're in, and as far as right now goes, we do have to have money in order to sustain a living, right? So it is what it is. But the Pentacles, you know, it talks about our physical health. It talks about having our needs met, right? Like her basket is full of these vegetables here. This could be talking about your health, like your health could be changing. That could be a focus that you've been focusing on lately. That could even be, you know, almost just even kind of changing the dynamic in your family. Also, like this could even be like a family effort as far as health goes. But, you know, this whole situation has brought you to a place where, or is going to bring you to this place where it's going to be, again, like even better than you thought. And it's like behind this curtain of the moon. And we have the Wheel of Fortune here as well. And the Wheel of Fortune talks about luck, things changing for the better. I always see the Wheel of Fortune as a good thing. I don't care what card it's around. But this is, you know, like the wheel is in motion, like things are moving, or they will be moving forward and rapidly. We have the Eight of Wands behind that. Eight of Wands, or the wands in general, talk about, you know, communication and action. And interestingly enough, we don't have any wands out here. I mean, there's one behind there, but this is all having to do with how you're feeling. This is all having to do with, you know, like kind of letting go of these old stories and just kind of this old pattern of thinking that is kind of maybe even blocked some of these good things from coming in here, or blocked you from even trying to do them. And the path that you're heading in, or the direction that you're heading in, is this abundance, having your needs met and having even more than what you need so that you can share it with other people. You know, if that has to do with family, charity, right? I mean, whatever the case may be. Absolutely beautiful. I'm going to leave it there. Right? Yeah. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye, Taurus.